All right, Martin Luther King was also very much involved in the movement of nonviolence, which I'm quite sure he learned from Mahatma Gandhi, and so he came somewhat later, but was using the same idea in the ways that he understood in this country. This country had its own specific problems of blacks being second-class citizens, and just, all kinds of things that were demoting and, insulting to blacks that were going on, like separate toilets and separate places to eat and so on. And so Martin Luther King came along and was really asked to take a position on that. And I mean, he had his own feelings, but he was brought into the position of leadership because he obviously was a good speaker and commanded, a lot of respect. And so he was the one that sort of eventually carried the ball for that movement of nonviolence, in contrast to others who were, caught up in violence. And of course he was too, but not himself. But the movement was so fractured, and so many people just didn't understand the change that was going on or couldn't accept it, so that he also got caught up in that and eventually died because of someone who wanted to do away with what he stood for. But he had some terms that he introduced, whereas Gandhi was talking about satyagraha and other terms that were understood in India. Martin Luther King talked about nonviolence, which is a difficult term in one way, in that it sounds like a negative, but it wasn't. It was a very positive thing. It was simply responding in a way that allowed people to, it was based on, integrity. He was a minister, and he took a special road with his ministry to try to help people to move beyond violence and to find another way. And so he helped to do that. We were involved in that to some extent. We never met Martin Luther King, but we supported him in some of the demonstrations and so on. And I might tell one little thing that happened. It was not, I guess, where Martin Luther King was present, but it was an event at Century Plaza in Los Angeles, and Liz and I were both there. And it turned out that the police were very antagonistic at this particular juncture, and there was a rally near the Century Plaza, and the planes were flying over and irritating the crowd and all of that sort of thing. And then we marched to the Century Plaza, and then the police were climbing up on the walls and with their bullhorns trying to get the crowd to disperse. And turns out this was Lyndon Johnson was speaking there in the hotel, and outside was all this stuff going on. And we had a 5-month-old baby at the time, and it turned out that then the police started to close in and beat people up, and we got out just in time. So we were part of that whole movement, and so it was based on Martin Luther King's teaching, and we were very active at that time. And so we appreciate the Martin Luther King Day holiday that now exists, and the support of nonviolence as a way of problem solving rather than all the militarism we get involved in otherwise.